In this video, I'll be introducing you to LARPbot, a Discord bot I made that helps you run complex pre-written games with items, inventories, containers, contingency envelopes, abilities, signs, and channel-based locations. I'll divide this into 3 parts. The first part will give you an overview of an example set of bot commands saved in text files. The second part will show you how to load these text files into the bot for use in your game server. Part 3 will give you an example of in-game interaction with the bot, referred to as the playground exercise. The playground exercise is useful as a pre-game workshop for players who are new to using the bot. Let's start with Part 1. Here's the first text file, makeroles.txt. Note that there is 1 bot command per line. This creates roles in your server that are specific to your game and keeps track of them in the LARPbot database. Here we're creating 2 character roles called NPC1 and NPC2. The second text file is makeinventories.txt. This contains commands to run after those in makeroles.txt. They take the roles created with the makerole commands and associate a character inventory with them. That way, any user with that role will have access to that character inventory. Just make sure only one user has a character role at a time. The next file is makeareas.txt, which associates text channels that exist in your server with an area, which can contain signs and containers of items. Once an area exists, players with a character role can use the search command in its channel to find what's there. Of course, until an area is populated with signs and containers, they won't find anything. Next we have makeitems.txt, which creates the items in the game. You only need to make these templates for items once per item, and can have any number of instances of an item in the game later on. The makeItem command lets you name an item, give it a description and a bulkiness, which represents how many hands it takes to carry it, and optionally include text to print if the item is opened/used. Note that this is different from consuming an item, which removes it from an inventory. Opening/using an item just prints text and can be done any number of times. Here we have makesigns.txt, which creates signs in an existing area. A sign can be active or inactive. Active signs can be found by searching an area and can be switched with inactive signs, which make the formerly active sign invisible to searches and the formerly inactive sign visible. If a sign's text includes the name of an inactive sign, the player will know that they can switch a currently active sign with the inactive sign. Note that sign names are unique across the entire game, not just per area. Next we see makecontainers.txt. The makeContainer command is the most complex of the make commands because it has a lot of options. The command here creates a container named box in the area called playground. The 10 is the number of seconds it takes players to search the container, and the false means that players will be able to select an item inside when the search is done, as opposed to getting an item randomly. Finally, there is text that is printed first when the player uses the search container command. Note that container names are unique across the entire game, not just per area. The next file is Makeabilities.txt, which creates character abilities. As with makeItem, Makeability creates a template, which can have as many instances in character inventories as characters, but unlike with items, a character can only have an ability once. An ability has a name, a description, and text that is printed when the ability is used. At the tail end of the command seen here, the false means that the ability can be used any number of times. If it were true, the bot would send a private message to the player to remind them that it had been used. The 0 is the cooldown time in minutes before the ability can be used again. The bot doesn't track this, but does send a private message to the player with the cooldown time. The last file of make commands is Makemems.txt. This creates all the memory packets in the game, also known as contingency envelopes. As with makeItem, Makemem creates a template, which can have as many instances in character inventories as characters. But unlike with items, a character can only have a memory packet once. The makemem command contains a name, a trigger, and contents. The trigger for each memory packet in an inventory is printed when the player uses the memtriggers command. They are supposed to describe the conditions under which the player is allowed to use the trigger or trigger here command to open the memory packet by name. The contents of a memory packet are printed when trigger or trigger here is used. Next, we have Assignabilities.txt, which assigns items to character inventories. The assign item command assigns a number of instances of an item to a character inventory. Here, the only command in the file assigns a single stick to NPC1. Note that in LARPbot, assign refers to assigning things to a character inventory. Other terminology is used for containers. The next file is Assignabilities Txt, which assigns abilities to characters. The Assignability command assigns an existing ability to a character inventory. Here, we're assigning the Practice ability to NPC1 and NPC2. The next file is Assignmems Txt, which assigns memory packets to characters. The AssignMem command assigns an existing memory packet to a character inventory. Here, we're assigning the Practice memory packet to NPC1 and NPC2. Finally, we have PutItems.txt, which puts items into containers. The PutItem command puts a number of an item into an existing container. The one command in this file puts 3 blobs into the container called box. And that's all the files you need to load in a game.